ABC opinion host Paul Barry took to Twitter this week to spruik an incredible development in the mystery about where COVID-19 originated from. Another blow to the Wuhan lab escape theory, he tweeted alongside an ABC article. Now, you might remember Paul Barry as being literally the only person on Earth who knows the virus didn't come from a Chinese lab. Here he is in May 2020, having a go at Shari Markson from The Australian for her exclusive reporting on the origins of COVID-19.
So how likely is it that the virus escaped from that Chinese lab? Well, in short, it's not, despite concerns expressed by the Americans in 2018 about lax standards, and despite what President Trump has been saying.
This is what annoys me about the ABC. It is the arrogance and the certainty behind this sort of commentary. Paul Barry has been on a crusade to disprove the Wuhan lab leak theory. From what I can tell, he's only doing it because pretty much Trump and the Morrison government wanted to look into it. That's how politically compromised this bloke is. He forms his opinions by taking the opposite stance of people he doesn't like. So what was this groundbreaking development which is a blow to the Wuhan lab leak theory? Well, the first study has to be entirely disregarded because it was based on data which was, quote, collected by Chinese scientists, the ABC reports. Well, Paul Barry is such a dimwit, he probably wouldn't understand why that is such an issue with integrity. And even if the data is accurate, it just showed that there were lots of cases in the early days of the pandemic in the market. Professor Michael Warraby, who analysed the Chinese data, said this: there was an extraordinary pattern where the highest density of cases was both extremely near to and very centred on this market. Great. That tells us absolutely nothing, as it could have come from the lab and then spread to the nearby market. So what is this second study Barry thinks disproves the lab leak theory? Well, a viral evolution expert from the University of California conducted a genomic diversity analysis which showed the virus had two clear lineage points. Lineage A was more genetically similar to bat coronavirus, but lineage B appeared to have begun spreading earlier in humans, particularly at the market, the ABC reported. Again, that proves literally nothing. And one of the study's authors, Professor Christian Anderson, says this herself in the same article that Barry tweeted out. Have we disproven the lab leak theory? No, we have not. But I think what's really important here is there are possible scenarios and there are plausible scenarios, and it's really important to understand that possible does not mean equally likely. So two studies proving or disproving absolutely nothing. But that doesn't stop Paul Barry from trying to use this article to push his personal opinion. That is anti-scientific and dangerous because we know China is aggressively attempting to shut down the Wuhan lab leak theory. All Barry is doing is spreading their propaganda on behalf of the Chinese communist superpower. Sophie, Paul Barry appears to have had it in for Shari Markson's great reporting from the very beginning. My only guess as to what he's doing is that Donald Trump was for it and he doesn't like Donald Trump to the degree. What do you think's going on here?
Well, firstly, he's on a crusade, as you said, to basically dismiss any reporting that Shari's done on this topic, and she's done incredible reporting on this. He's been on a crusade to diminish her. It's got the Trump factor as well. We know he can't stand Trump. The fact that he's almost siding with China on this is concerning. Strange. And I think that Paul Barry's job, again, at the broadcaster, is to sit on the fence. That is exactly what he doesn't do. You only have to tune into Media Watch every Monday night to see the rampage he goes on. So the fact that he's tweeting this out, he's trying to get this message out, he's trying to diminish any credibility of stories linked to Shari, just shows really how pathetic he's become. And I think it diminishes any credibility or ounce of credibility he may have had left.
Oh, well, he definitely has no credibility, Daisy. I think that's pretty obvious to everybody. But it's interesting because, ironically, what he's doing is so anti-scientific. He's taking and cherry-picking stuff from studies which proves what he wants to be the answer, and says that means it discredits people that he doesn't happen to like in the media.
Yeah, I mean, for the side of politics that relentlessly goes on about listening to the science, not science, but the science, which means, the politics of it, he's not being very scientific there at all. And the thing is, Paul Barry and also a lot of leftist journalists, we know in 2020, the whole way through the Trump presidency, but particularly in 2020, which was the election year, anything Trump said, they had to take the opposite stance to. Even if it was sensible, that it had to be nope, that's somehow wrong. And of course, the lab leak theory was a big part of that. That we know that's not surprising. That's just what they do. It's just a lack of integrity, as we know. But it's 2022 now, and I would have thought that as a journalist and as a media commentator and as a human being, Paul Barry would be open to any kind of theory as to where coronavirus came from. Take the politics out of it for the good of humanity. We all need to know where COVID-19 came from, whether it was a lab leak, whether it was a wet market, whether it was anything else. I would have thought that everyone, regardless of their political persuasion, with a grain of salt, or dare I say it, morality, would be giving every kind of theory a chance rather than dismissing stuff because it comes from people that you don't like. And I agree with both of you about the political factor, but I think it goes further. I reckon, because Shari Markson is such a wonderfully high-profile News Corp journalist, there's the kind of, media vendetta there as well. He doesn't like her because she works for News Corp. And dare I say it, this is just, in my opinion, perhaps Paul Barry might be a little bit jealous of Shari Markson and her incredible reporting on this issue. And, fast forward to now, and this is still his stance.
Well said, Daisy.